So y'all have seen this mower in all of my update videos saying I haven't gotten to it. So I brought it out from under the house just to try and mess around with it a little bit, since I don't really have anything else to do today. First off, it's an 18-inch Vulcan deck. The deck is in okay shape considering how old this lawnmower is. Still got the side chute on it here and the side chute here. Just a little bit of rust, but nothing alarming, just a little surface rust here and there. It's got a 3.8 horsepower Tecumseh engine on it. So when I got it and pulled it, I couldn't get it to pull. It's like it was frozen up. So I was like, oh, it might be seized. And at the time, I didn't have an 18-inch blade for it, but because I thought I was going to repurpose a blade to put on that Craftsman aluminum deck and keep the Sycamore mower, the 19-inch mower that I had. So I was going to supplement a blade for that, and I didn't really mess with this one, but here I have the 18-inch blade for it, or an 18-inch blade that will fit perfectly on it. So I've got that covered. I have one carburetor left that I bought a couple months ago that was having the problems, but ended up getting it fixed. So I've got a carburetor for it. The only thing I don't have is an intake tube for it. I found them online. They're about $8 or $10. And so I guess knowing what I know now, I'll probably go purchase an intake tube for it tonight. This mower's actually doesn't have any sort of safety mechanism on the handle. It's got it on the throttle itself. I probably won't worry about connecting to the throttle back, but I'll keep this because when I push it forward, it'll stop it completely like that. It'll ground it out. So I'll keep this mechanism on it. But yeah, like I said, to start out with, and I'll show y'all what I did to get it unseized. Spoiler alert, I guess you could say. So I'd pull on the rope here and it wouldn't go anywhere. It wasn't pulling anything. It would just stay stuck. Let me grab the right tool here. So what I did is I just, on the shaft here, I actually put some lubricant, WD-40 on it, just to see if I could free it up. But it actually hadn't been turned in so long that the flywheel had rusted onto the magneto there for the ignition. And so that was the problem. The engine's fine, as I will show you all in a second. All I did was take these vice grips. Let me put this on for a second. So I took the vice grips here and just kind of took it up on the higher part of the shaft here, and then just gave it a good tug, and it unfroze itself. And now, as you can see, yeah, I know I'm turning it on its side, but just to give y'all a demonstrative purpose here, it's turning freely. Again, it doesn't have any gas in it or anything. You can disconnect your spark plug if you want to, just so it doesn't ignite. But again, there's no gas, and it's turning freely here. So that's how I got that to unseize. And then so once I got that to unseize, I figured I would turn it back over. I'll reconnect the spark plug now, but I figured I'd turn it back over and throw in some starter fluid and see if it would actually crank up and run. And so let me go get my starter fluid, and I'll show y'all that it will run, or indeed run here. So here we are with the starter fluid. I'll spray some in the intake inlet there, since I don't have an intake tube, and should fire up for us. So as you can see, it fired up. I'm gonna have to put another pull rope on it, obviously, because this one's very old and dry rotted. But I've got some pull rope here, and so I'll just put one on it, no issue. I will have to order me the intake tube for it and come up with all the linkages for the carburetor, which I should have lying around. I just have to find them. And I've got the blade, so I'll sharpen the blade on it, put it on the mower, and just kind of hang out and wait for the intake tube to come in after I order it, and have a good little trim mower for somebody, giving a little bit of life back to this Tecumseh, which is good. Even though this has been sitting under the house for a few months, the oil on it is extremely clean, and was full when I got it. So I guess it had just been sitting for a while. But yeah, let me do a little work to it, and I'll get some stuff on it, and we'll end up with a decent mower here, I think. So I got the blade on it and sharpened, and found an adapter that works for it, which was good. It is sitting a little high on the deck, but since this mower cuts really low, if it was all the way down here anyways, it probably is good that it is sitting kind of high right there. I'll test mow with it just to make sure that it cuts the grass well on it. But the next thing I'm going to do is look at this pull rope, fix it or replace it, one of the two. I've got one under the house that is exactly like this, that came from that Toro that had the low compression on it, so I might just put that top on it. Good thing about Tecumsehs is if you don't want to take off your engine cover here, you can take these two 5/16 inch bolts holding on this top piece here, to get access to the pull rope. And so that's the route I'm going to take with this one, and I might just end up replacing it instead of putting a rope in this one, since the spring action's a little bit tired on it. So yeah, I'm going to take these two 5/16 inch bolts off next. So I apologize, my eyes deceived me. These are only 1/4 inch bolts, not 5/16, so 1/4 inch. Got the two of them off. Got it so that this will come right off there. So instead of in lieu of taking the whole engine cover off like you have to do for Briggs and Strattons, take this off and you're good to go. So if we look here, we're only getting about maybe 1 to 1.5 rounds out of this pull rope currently on it. That's all. Oops, sorry about that. That's all I've got. It only recoils about once. I could just tighten it up. I just don't like, since this rope's probably been sitting for a while, it's going to break after a couple of pulls anyways. So I got this mechanism out. Came from the Toro, as you can see. This mechanism is just too nice to put on this mower for me. I could use it for another purpose. Since this one right here just needs a little bit of lubricant on it and a new rope, I mean, I'll go that route instead here and show y'all how I go about doing this also. So the first thing I'll do is I'll find a screwdriver. I'll pull the rope out here. It's hard to do with only one hand, but I'll set this down. So I'll pull the rope out all the way here. Stop it. I'm going to pull this out. And all I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut the edge of it cut this knot off with some diagonal cutters. And so let me get those, and I will cut it and pull this rope out. Alright, so I got it pulled out to where the hole here is lined up with the hole in the, I guess, the pull rope assembly. I got my diagonal cutters here, as you can see. Just going to take the knot right here, cut it off, pull the rope out. You see I have the screwdriver here also. I'm going to have, or I put that in there so that the rope doesn't recoil, or so that the recoil mechanism doesn't recoil back. Now since this one's kind of weak, it only recoils about once or twice, I'm going to lube it up first, and then I'm going to spin this around 3 or 4 times. Let me grab the lubricant, I'll just do it on camera here. So lubing it up here. Because it's pretty rusty. So I'm going to do this about 3 or 4 times here. I'll be turning it counterclockwise. As you can see, your little teeth are moved here as well. So let's see. So we'll start it here at 0. We'll get to 1 here. There's 2. I like to get it about 4. Hopefully this spring isn't too messed up to do that, and it looks like it was because it recoiled back on me, so that's not good. And so I don't know if you can hear it in there, but after I get about one or two times around, the spring will wind itself back, and you don't want that to happen. And then it loses all the tension. So what I might do in lieu of this is I might not have another option but to put the rope over there on it for the time being, unless I can get this kind of straightened out. I can get two turns out of it, which is enough, but it's just not a lot. So maybe for the time being I'll put the other rope on it. That sounds like a better option. So I did basically the reverse procedure of what I showed y'all with this new rope here, and I cut the rope, and y'all know how to rethread rope. Y'all just thread it up through the handle here, tie a knot in it, pull it out. It has this little metal piece on it. I'm not going to take it off. It's only just a little bit of tail on it, but it does pull really well now, which is a good thing. So we've got that in order. I've got the carburetor ready, and now I just have to purchase an intake tube that'll work on this. I know y'all know that the older Tecumsehs versus the newer Tecumsehs, they swapped where the exhaust and the intake come in. So on this older Tecumseh, this newer intake tube won't work, and it's a shame because I've got like 2 of them here. But as you can see, they don't even mount the same way. This one mounts like this, except it mounts down here for the exhaust, or where the exhaust is, and curves up, versus the older ones that just come out and go straight to the carburetor. So I will order those, or order one of those, and put it together here. So I've got all the hardware and parts that I'm going to need here now with the air filter. This air filter's in decent shape still. Got a little bit of grass in it. I'll clean it out a little bit. The intake tube that I just ordered, it came in yesterday. Fit perfectly on this mower here. And so what I'll do first is I'll attach the intake to the carburetor here, and I'll put a primer bulb on this carburetor. I'm pretty sure it's good. I don't remember what it came off of, but actually I think it came off of that Toro mower with low compression. So I'll put that on the tube here, put this primer bulb on, and put the tube on. So that'll be next. So before I put this all the way on, I'll show y'all how I did the carb linkages here. And then on the top, these older mowers have 3 holes, which actually did me well, because on the top here, I put the linkage to the actual carburetor itself down here, so y'all can see. And then these older mowers with the throttle on them, you can put the linkage with the spring, connect it to the throttle here, the throttle lever. That way it'll help better regulate it. And then on the auto throttle, the spring actually goes on a little piece that will attach to the intake here. I don't have room for that with this linkage, and I have to keep the linkage in order for it to be able to ground out and stop the mower. So usually I like doing this route, but this route I think is going to be just fine. We're going to find out here in just a second. But next I'll show y'all what I do with the primer bulb. So everything's put back together here. Got the air filter on. All I had to do was take it off of that carburetor there. Not too difficult. It's just a couple of screws to take out and put in to put this cover on, and then to screw this on is nothing. These were 5/16. I just put them in with a wrench, and then these are Phillips heads. If they don't come off with the Phillips, then a 3/8 socket works better. Those heads inside strip, especially if the intake's been on a while. So now I've got the primer bulb, and all I do with putting these primer bulbs in is put them in there. You have your little locking nut that comes with them. At least it came with the 10-pack that I bought of these primer bulbs. And then you got your 3/4 inch socket, and then what you're going to do is you're going to take it, and you have the locking tabs in there, so you're going to take it and you're going to have to take a hammer or something and tap it in easily. And so I've got it in there. Now I'm just going to take a hammer and tap it in and set it, and then we'll put the gas tank on, hook it up to the gas line, put gas in it, and we'll see if this thing will start up for us. So it's now all together. Everything right here was a really, really tight fit with the gas line and the air filter and the throttle mechanism, but I've got it to where it works, which is a good thing. So let me take it off at the stop and give it a few primes and see if it'll run for us. Alright, so after I pressurized the gas tank, I blew into it a little bit, it finally took off here. I knew with the bigger muffler it'd be actually a pretty quiet mower. It's not too loud. So you can see it's got plenty of oil in the muffler here. We're just going to let it run for a little while. Leaving. Yeah, likes running full throttle, but it's right on the money, so. Again, we'll let it run for a little bit. And once this oil burns off, I'll give y'all a final look and a final start with this thing. But yeah, all it was sometimes these carburetors, I guess, need a little bit of pressure to get the gas going in them. So I just pressurized the gas tank and I'm blowing into it. And I got the fuel to start flowing through it. And so that seems to have done the trick. But again, we'll let it run. I'll give it a final look and start for y'all. So it's clean and should be ready to go. I'm going to start it up here, let it run a little bit more. Then I'm going to let it sit overnight. I always let Tecumsehs sit overnight whenever I fix them and start them the next morning, because y'all know as good as I do that Tecumsehs can be very foolish when it comes to thinking that you've got them fixed. So that's just kind of my rule with Tecumseh engines. If I have to do any carburetor work to them, or am doing major work on it like I did this one, I'm just glad the intake tube works well. So we'll see if this thing will crank up and get a final start for us here. I'm just amazed at how good this little 3.8 horsepower Tecumseh runs. It's a strong runner, which is good. I cut a little bit over there with it, and it seems to do pretty good, even though the blade's a little higher on the deck, so I'm not too worried about that. Hoping that it'll crank up tomorrow morning and run just like this. If it does, I'll put it on Craigslist. These little 18-inch mowers aren't very easy to find anymore, and there's not a big market for them, but there still is a market, because people love little trim mowers. So in the meantime, though, we'll turn this thing off so y'all can hear me a little bit better. But in the meantime, I've got a good one here. Like I said, I'm going to have a mower update this weekend. I'm going to see what I can sell Saturday and Sunday this weekend. Hopefully I'll get a few sales, since it's been a little wet around here this week. But in the meantime, I've got a good 18-inch mower here, hopefully. Hope everybody's season is still going well. And whenever I get another mower in that needs fixing, I'll post it as well. And hope y'all found this one informative. I'm trying to do a little bit more about showing how to do things, since I've had a couple of requests to do that. And I'll keep that up. I do have to change the oil in this as well. I forgot about that. But I'll change the oil in it. Be good to go. Thank you all again for watching.